Hey, YouTube, what is going on? We are live. Can you hear me? A check. Let me wait for it on my end to pop up on the screen.
One thing on prostate cancer has...
Oh, prostate cancer commercial. Let's see if it's working on my end.
On prostate cancer.
Yep, works good on my end. Can everybody hear me out there? All right. Of course, I am your host, Jake the Asshole. We are having a flat earth discussion. And with me today, we have Shay, of course.
Hi.
Hi. Can you guys hear Shay? Shay, give a test out there.
Hello.
Here, talk a little more. Make sure they can hear you loud and clear.
Hello.
All right. So, I'm excited for this stream. I'm sure Shay is too. This is going to be a flat earth presentation, not a typical flat earth presentation. We're not going to be presenting you guys the circle map today. Today we have the rectangular Mercator map, which is a style of flat earth map that Shay likes. And I'm sure people are going to have questions, and she'll definitely be ready to answer those. But first, we're going to try to get through her presentation. I want to say hi to some people in chat who are here. Rose Bellman, Javid Ben Cosme, right out of the gate with a super chat, says, saw Jaren versus RB Truth yesterday. What up, guys? I watched that as well. I'm thinking I'll do a separate stream or video about that and give my thoughts, because they did bring me up a few times, and they weren't quite truthful when they brought me up. And so that inclines me, of course, to have a rebuttal, which I will. And so I'll definitely discuss that in a future video. But today, we're not going to discuss those shill bags. We're going to be talking about Shay's map, of course. Don't want to get carried away with shill crap today. Who else is here? Boris Chaps. Lee Redpath says, hey, Jake and all. Infamous Caslow. Nick Harrier. All right. Lex G. Lots of people showing up. All right. Good times. So let me go ahead and welcome Truth Warriors. We are live. It is time. Time to talk some flat earth.
Okay.
You excited?
I'm excited. I'm nervous. Yes, I'm very nervous.
Okay, guys, here's the deal. Shay is going to present a model that a lot of people might not be familiar with. It might not seem right to you at first glance. And so I want you to hold back any harsh criticism in chat. No name calling. Be nice to her. She's nervous. And I have studied what she is presenting today, and I have found some anomalies, and we'll get into that towards the end of the stream. But I really want to stress that it takes a lot of guts and courage to do this. And Shay, for her to present this and put herself out there to the world and say that this is what she truly thinks is happening, it takes an extreme amount of guts that a lot of people just don't have. And so before you hear something that you don't agree with and start criticizing her harshly here in the chat, just know that I won't allow it, and I will put you in timeout. So I want everyone to listen, pay attention, and keep your mind open to some possibilities outside of the Circle AE map, which we have proven is the PSYOP map. It's been debunked. So without further ado, are you ready, Shay?
Yes, I'm ready. So you guys, I am very nervous. He's right. I can hear my heart beating through my headphones. And this is all brand new equipment to me, and I haven't used a laptop in a long time. So there's my disclaimer. But let's show the map.
All right, Shay. We're going to go ahead and bring up your map here. 1, 2, 3. Boom.
So this map right here, I think, answers a lot of questions that the flat earth community could not answer, like explain how the sun circles above our heads, explain why stars are rotating in two different directions, in the north and the south, explain how you get from Russia to Alaska, explain why you can't fly over the North and South poles, and how do I navigate if south is all around us? Like, which way is south? It's in every single direction. And explain how the sun is making an infinity shape that you can take a picture every day at the same time, and in a year, you're going to see the infinity symbol. How is it doing that on that map? And explain how you navigate using a compass. And this map really explains it all. And I started looking at it when I got on Google Maps, and I noticed that at the top, it's ice. At the bottom, it would be ice. And I looked at early exploration, and they were stuck in ice up here and down here.
Oh, make sure to point. Yeah, there you go.
Okay. So now can you bring up, well, I think I can, the Google map. Okay, right here.
There you go.
So I was looking at this map and noticed you can't fly over the North Pole, and you can't fly over the South Pole. We know that. The globe says that. The map says that. The AE map, they say that.
All right, let me interject real quick. So interesting tidbit here. Nobody's flying over the North Pole on Shay's map. Nobody's flying over the North Pole on the A.E. Gleason map. Nobody's flying over the North Pole on the globe. And so all the maps do have that one tidbit in common. All right, go ahead.
Yes. So we're saying this is an end. This is the north end. Here is the south end. It ends here. I can't go any further. It doesn't show me what is beyond. If I fly over here, I don't know what's next on this map. And then if I go over here, I see this right here. And this is a prime meridian line. And supposedly,
International date line.
International date line.
Yeah.
If you're here, it's one day. And if you're over here, it's the very next day. And a flight from here over to here is 24 to 32 hours. So there's stuff to be talked about when it comes to this area and this line right here. But what I say is you take some scissors, cut this line, spread the map out, and that is your map.
So the deception, of course, would be right there on that international date line. And so the possibility would exist that to the west, you don't know what you would find, but you don't think it's, so you don't think Russia is to the west of Alaska?
No. Russia is the extreme east, and Alaska is the extreme west. Okay, let me close out of
so I'm
here.
sure the first question most people would have is that, can you go west and then pop out in the east on
no,
this
map? You cannot. Style? It is not a Pac-Man style map. You absolutely cannot do that. So this is the map that most flat earthers use that Jake and I disagree with, and that is North Pole in the center. But this is what I want you guys to really pay attention to. Where did this come from? This is the American Flat Earth Society representation of the true world map. This map came from the American Flat Earth Society, and you guys know that they are shills.
It's also used as the UN logo.
Yeah, the UN logo. We're going to look at that. Make it bigger so we can see what is the problem with this. What is the problem? What does the UN logo represent to you? Because to me, it represents the New World Order.
The government's control over a certain territory. And this, of course, is a lot of people would say it's the globe just smashed down from the center. So you take the globe, you just smash it down from the center. Or
Yeah.
the top, I should say.
Yeah. And it also has 33 sections. So there's also a problem with that if you're into that kind of numerology with the Freemasons and secret societies.
Oh, we got a chat here that's going to be, we're going to talk about this a little later. It says 52 miles from Alaska to Russia. You can walk from Alaska to Russia. 100% truth. Not so fast. Not so fast. We're going to get to that
Jake's
soon.
going to teach you about that because Jake discovered, I've been looking at this map for 3 years and Jake discovered something that I didn't discover. So okay. I can't wait.
So basically, guys, Shay got me to start looking into some flat Earth research that I had overlooked and not done enough research into. I started looking at the dateline. I started looking at the distance between Alaska and Russia. And you'll be surprised that not just anybody can go walking across there. So if you think just anybody can go walking across there when it's frozen, you're definitely wrong. And I'll show you an example of a guy who did that and then got arrested and deported. At least that's what they say. And so the Eskimos who live on the Diomede Islands, Little Diomede, will tell you that if you try to go across, that they have Russian guards who will stop you. And so we'll get to that later. But let's go ahead and get back to Shay's presentation.
Okay, so now we're going to talk about the oceans and how the oceans do not mix. And they also are rotating in 2 different directions. And thanks, say his name, Javid. Javid
Ben Cosby is what I call him. I don't even know if I'm getting it right.
Javid. Are we saying your name right? I want to know because I was calling you Javid, and I think I was wrong. Okay, so these oceans do not mix, and that is important to note. They're all different colors, and really I am going to explain why. Here's 2 other ones. See, 2 different oceans. They don't mix. 2 different colors. And this is proof of the north and south magnetic ends, that there's 2 magnetic ends, because this is why they don't, I should have got water. The Pacific Ocean is flowing from the north, and the Atlantic Ocean is flowing from the south. Indian Ocean is going this way, and the Pacific Ocean is going this way. So there's positive and negative energy in the oceans, like magnetic. The oceans are magnetic. Everything's magnetic. So hopefully that makes sense to you. If not, I do have videos on this where I go into greater detail.
The first time I saw that the oceans don't mix like that tripped me out, because like the Pacific Ocean is, well, that one looks like you got it flip-flopped. The dark one's usually the Pacific Ocean.
Oh, it could be. Okay, and then the stars. Okay, the winds. Let me show you guys the winds. I think this is the winds.
Go back to that first ocean pic that you have, the one that first ocean one real quick.
Okay.
Show the 2 different oceans.
Okay, really quick. The winds are going this way up here and this way down here, and it's not truly up and down because it's flat. But let's go back to the oceans.
That one right there, yeah.
These ones. This is where they're meeting. Which one?
Because the Pacific, when I go to the ocean, it looks really dark blue like that. And then when I was in Florida, it looks light blue like that.
You know what? And I think it makes sense with what they say about the water, that the water is mostly coming from the north. That's where the clean, fresh water comes from, the north, and the water in the south is dirtier.
That's crazy. I've never seen that with my own eyes, like on the where they meet like that, but that is pretty crazy. All right, go ahead and continue.
Okay. And then we talked about the winds rotating in 2 different directions, and then Here we have the oceans doing the exact same thing, clockwise, counterclockwise. And we have the stars doing it if this video will play. I don't think you'll hear the sound, but you will be able to see what I'm talking about. Can I make this bigger? I mean, just here's the stars in the southern hemisphere down here going this way. Wait, no, I have them backwards. Here they are.
The top one is the southern. There you
Yeah. Yeah. So, you know, people, that's like evidence we can see with our own eyes and record. So that's proof that there's a north end and a south end. It's kind of like this. That map this is the most important part, you know, north end, south end, two ends of the earth. Thank you. And that it aligns with this compass. And we're going to show you some videos now that I made.
You want the compass video?
Yeah, the first compass video. I think you need to rewind it.
That's how that works.
This is my TikTok.
And the compass spinning in opposite directions. When it's spinning towards the north, it's going clockwise. When it's spinning towards the south, it's going counterclockwise. And our stars also do that. Our water does that. The oceans do that. And the winds do that. On the north, they're clockwise. In the south, they all spin counterclockwise. It's because the entire earth is magnetic. And another lie is this compass always points to the north and it's pointing to the North Star. Well, no, it's not. It's pointing to dipholes.
You meant to say the North
the
Pole,
center
right?
of the earth. They always say the center.
North Pole, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
In the earth that are magnetic. So the nearest dipole, that's magnetic. And it's all throughout the earth. So that's how that works. And the stars and ocean and skies, they all spin in opposite directions, which debunks the globe and the flat earth map with North Pole in the center. So the other thing I want...
All right.
Okay, so now can you show the next video and I'll get rid of that one.
We got a long way to go. And
Whoa.
Can you pause it? Oh, I can pause it.
Yeah. Can you control it on your end too?
No, it's not letting me.
Okay.
Not this way.
I
just want to show that second map. That's the reason why I have this one on here.
All right, because that had like a song. I don't want to get that copyright claim deal.
Okay, so right here, it shows that every single direction is in every single direction. So if you want to go south, you can go north to go south, east to go south, west to go south. Every direction's in every direction.
Yeah, I don't like that map for that reason too, is because what they say is that east and west are circles and that east becomes west and that north and south are straight lines. And that you can go south in every direction opposite forever, but you're going south. So you go one way and I go the other and we both are going to be heading south. I don't like that.
Any way you go would be south or north. Or east or west.
The compass works. The compass with Mercator makes so much more sense as far as like north, south, east, and west. It's like everything makes sense. What doesn't make sense to most people is how you're going to get your sun to pop out over here and pop out over here, or how people are going to pop out over here and pop out over here. So that's what you really have to explain to everyone here. Is how does the sun, of course, travel from one side and come out the other? And then can people travel from one side or out the other?
Okay. Can we go back to my other screen now?
This one?
Okay, yes. So now I want to get into some scripture, because the first thing I did when I learned that the earth was flat was I read the Bible to see if the Bible aligned, since God created the earth. And then I went to scripture and I looked up north, south, west, and east, the cardinal directions. And I found this one that said, "But the Lord in majesty will be there for us, a place of broad rivers and streams where no galley with oars can go, nor majestic ship can pass." And no ship has ever passed the north. And I started reading the book of Enoch, and I didn't even realize it was about the flat earth. And now I know why they hid it from us. But right here it talks about the north. From thence I advanced on toward the north to the extremities of the earth. So extremities, the ends of the earth. And there I saw a great and glorious wonder, the aurora borealis lights. And it talks about heavenly gates. And if you read the book of Enoch, you can learn a lot about the flat earth. And it also aligns with this Mercator map. I just want to show this. God's throne is not just above us, it's in the north. The north would be in the direction of the North Star Polaris. And they're trying to put God like in the center of the earth. Instead, he's like a whole end of the earth, an extreme end. And
I'm going to drop a link to your channel.
navigation. Thank you.
I'm going to drop a link to Shay's channel in the chat. So if anyone wants to check out her channel, give her a sub.
So we look at this compass right here. I mean, you have to put multiple compasses around this in order to make it work. You can't just use one compass on here. You should be able to put a compass right here and have it line up. Like, this does not make any sense. And you know what else? It aligns with the globe. Okay, and then on this map, you can put a compass over it. As a matter of fact, they make decorations with a compass over this map, because this is the map that makes the most sense when you align it with a compass. And people are like, oh, square Pac-Man map. Nope, you can fit it in a circle. You can fit it right inside of the compass. And that's going to be in here. Here is a compass over the Gleason map. It doesn't make any sense. And then here is the compass over that map. And everything lines up perfectly.
So your center point is what?
Okay. Getting to the center of the earth. Here is your center. The Great Pyramid, which is precisely aligned to the true north. And as a matter of fact, I have a blog about this on my website, and I did put it up here to share. Oh, right here.
On Shay's map, it's not a pole in the center. It's the pyramids in the center, and the poles are north and south on the Mercator map. So that's the main difference where people might get confused, because on the AE map, that's a pole in the center, and they have the north as just the one pole in the center. So your map has the two poles, the north and the south, at the tops of the and bottom of the map, and then your center point is the pyramids.
Yes.
Okay. Making sure I'm on the same page and everyone else is too.
Okay. Go. Okay, sorry. I was trying to pull up my blog, which is right here, to show what I wrote about the pyramids. But yes, the pyramids are they are the center of the earth, and I think they had a much greater purpose than what they're being told, like they're a tomb for dead people, but that's not what they did. I mean, they were covered in limestone, and actually these pyramids hold the secrets to the earth. But I can't pull up my blog, so let me try it one more time. Talk for 1 minute.
It's fine. Take your time. Here, so basically, what I like about this one is the first thing I did was start looking into like the dateline, and I started finding some issues. So that's definitely the first place that my mind went. And then once I realized that there could be a possibility of it being something like what we're looking at, like we're basically barned in like barnyard animals into this rectangular area. So this might not be all the land that there is, or all of our world that there possibly is. There could be more beyond this point, but you kind of got to look at the rectangle Mercator shape as like our barnyard prison cell.
Yes. So right here it shows that the pyramids, I'm going to make this a full screen, are aligned with Orion. And making it a full screen. Okay, right there. They're perfectly aligned with Orion. They're also aligned with the cardinal directions, which would be impossible if North was in the center of the Earth. The pyramids also debunk the globe and the flat Earth map, the AE flat Earth map. And there's just a lot of interesting things about the pyramids, which definitely are in the center of the Earth. And let me show you the scripture. Is it right here? It's the one, I think there were 7 wonders of the world, and it's the only one that is still standing. And here it says, "In that day there will be an altar to the Lord in the center of the land of Egypt, and a pillar to the Lord near her border. It will be a sign and a witness to the Lord of hosts in the land of Egypt. When they cry out to the Lord because of their oppressors, he will send them a savior and a defender to rescue them." Anyway, a lot of biblical people believe that old biblical texts were stored in the pyramids before the flood. So it's something to look into. That's the center of the Earth. Okay, let's talk about the sun. This is basically what the sun is doing. And it's how it's creating that pattern. So it's not doing this. This is what it's doing over the real map. And see the pattern that it's creating. And we have plenty of evidence. So many people have pictures of this, of the sun doing this. And,
the one that I don't forget the picture I sent you too.
Yeah. That is down here. And basically, the Book of Enoch talks about gates, and this kind of is a picture of what it's doing.
You know, I actually had a wacky thought that if you did have 2 suns, as one was going down, your second one could simultaneously come up without them ever being near each other. So if you were going to have a 2-sun model, I actually was staring at this and thought that what if sun A is going down and then sun B comes popping up at that exact moment, and then one goes under the ground while the other one's up at noon. It's it seems weird, but I'm trying to think of a way that it gets from one side to the other, how to explain that. And that's the one thing that becomes almost unexplainable in any.
I made a TikTok about it because the Book of Enoch does explain it, but then you just have to get a mental picture of it because we don't know what the firmament looks like. We don't know what's above us. I mean, obviously it's curved because a rainbow and what a sundog looks like, but we don't know exactly. But the Book of Enoch says that it goes through the north to get back to the east. And I kind of, I don't know, maybe Sam Kelly made this picture, but I kind of like this because it does show that it's going through the north.
You
to
know,
get
when
back.
it comes to the sun and moon, they might be not really physical objects, and so you have to consider that, like, that they're doing something beyond our human explanation, because we know mainstream science explanation that it's a big giant gas ball just burning, and we're this little tiny Earth going around it. That's bunk. And so if you think, okay, what is the moon? What is the sun? None of us can get up there and really figure it out. So we're all just stuck, you guys. We're all stuck trying to figure it out. And so to
call the map of Pac-Man, because we don't know exactly what the sun does when their sun makes no sense at all, and our sun makes almost perfect sense, except for that loop thing.
Yeah, so on timeanddate.com and in the scientific websites, they use a Mercator style map to show you where the sun's going to be. And then I've even seen it like NASA headquarters and stuff. They usually have a Mercator map up on screen. They don't have like a globe up on screen, and they don't have an AE map up on screen. So I've even seen them showing the sun's location and the supposed ISS location up on the Mercator screen. And so I noticed that on the scientific websites that you view a lot of information, they don't show it to you on a globe or an AE map. They typically will have it on this Mercator style map.
So basically, I'm just showing you that this is not a Pac-Man map, that this fits inside of a circle because it has to. It has to align with a compass. And the north is one end and the south is another end. And they meet right here in the middle at the equator. Yeah. Right here, I'm showing you that the Earth has 4 corners. Right here, 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 here. It's the northwest, northeast, southwest, southeast. Those are extreme ends of the Earth. And I'm telling you that not only can you not fly that way, and you cannot fly that way, but you also cannot fly this way and keep going, this way, or that way. You can't fly in any of those directions because you will hit the firmament. You're going to hit something.
Or you'll go into untracked territory or something.
Yes, and here's where
you have to admit that you don't know. You have to admit that beyond that, this Mercator map, that you really don't know.
Well, I did look into it, like what's the furthest place east and what's the furthest place west somebody has ever flown. And there's been a lot of, like Amelia Earhart, that's where she died, trying to make that around the world trip. And same thing, I read this book and a lot of people crashed trying to, find these passages that don't exist. So I do believe there's ends. However, they say that you would run out of fuel before you could ever get to the end and know what is out there.
So why don't you pull up
East and West?
Why don't you pull up Google Maps and let's go to Alaska and in Russia, and let's get into some logistics here and some facts, supposed facts. This is where it all gets fun. So my flat Earth research automatically, when Shay showed me this, and then I was watching FPV Angel's channel as well, and they're supposed to be my next guests, and so they both agree that the deception lies along that international date line. And go ahead and just keep getting it bigger until we get get that distance between there. It's 52 miles, they say. And there's something interesting when you get to the middle of these. And the dateline, they say, runs right down the middle. And the first thing I look at are them two islands. Keep zooming in. And what are these islands called? The Diomede Islands. Now, I had never heard of Diomede Islands or really looked into it, or if I had heard about it, I forgot. And so my research automatically led me here to these islands. And go ahead and get closer and show them that satellite view.
Trying to show them. I'm trying to click on the satellite. Oh, here we go.
Ah, there you go. So this is exactly what I did on Google Maps. I got closer and closer. And then I stop right there. And then I'm like, what in the hell is that white shit? I'm like, what in the hell is this? I'm like, are these fake islands? That's the first thing I started to think. Are these even real? Like, what in the hell is going on? And so I went on YouTube and I actually found some different Diomede Islands footage. And so these islands do exist. But I find it interesting that Google Maps has it looking like this, right? Like, it's clear that is some pixelated weirdo copy and pasted looking shit going on. And so I thought that was strange that's how they have it on Google Maps. But when I went to YouTube and I watched some video footage, these two islands do exist. And go to Little Diomede and show them go the other one, the Little Diomede, and show them the village there.
Right here.
And so they have this little village on Little Diomede, and these are the islands in between Russia and Alaska follow. And so when I zoomed in on that, I wanted to get down street level, but they won't let you get down street level. That's as much as you get. So I went on YouTube, and the awesome thing about YouTube, you can find a lot of information. And so I was able to find this actual village and some Eskimos who live there. And they have a story that I'm going to play later about not being able to go over to Big Diomede or to the Russian side because it's illegal and they'll sick dogs on you and they'll shoot at you. Yep. So basically, that little village right there is home to 100 Eskimos. And go ahead and back out now.
And the other one...
They say during the winter that this Bering Strait freezes and that you could walk from that island to that island and also from Big Island over to Russia. So they say that during the winter when it's cold enough that this whole area freezes. And they're go now start showing them Russia, go to east, show them Russia. So you can go from Big Diomede there over to Russia, east of it. And they say that you could walk this. So that is a total distance from Alaska to Russia, they say, of 52 miles. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys where my research led me. And this was some flat Earth research that I wasn't expecting to stumble across. I wasn't expecting to find what I found. But here, I'm going to go ahead and remove, or here. Actually, let me share on my side, and I'll pull it up.
I'll remove the video.
Here we go.
Late 70s, early 80s, they varies.
How did they come in before that?
207, 180s. Water.
Oh, yeah.
That was when the ice went away.
Oh, 267 steps?
200.
Hmm.
2,768 feet walking.
Oh wow, that's a lot.
1,400 feet tall, somewhere around there.
Do any people live on that rock?
Yep, you see the highest place up there?
Yeah.
They're watching us right now, and there's a shitload of border guards over there.
Oh, they're what?
I wouldn't go over there. They'll get their dogs loose, and they'll come ski after you. They're fast.
So they're up on top of the mountain, huh?
Yep, and they go down it in minutes. So
Man.
going down that slope.
Mm-hmm.
There's a fast bunch of young men over there.
So they're actually Russians or the natives over there?
Military.
The military.
Border guards, yep.
Oh, okay.
They probably brought the locals mainland.
Oh,
They
okay.
used to before.
They used to have locals.
Do you have any relatives on that side?
They moved them all.
Yeah,
Yep.
Where the
Ellen or Laurentian. That's where all our family
And
got
then
moved to.
Providinio.
Some of them are there. Yeah.
Huh. But how often do you don't go there now? Yeah.
No.
Maybe this
Nope,
year
I
they're
don't.
talking about it this year, huh? Last year we had people from Laurentia come over here on skin boots.
Ski boots?
Skin
Skin
boots.
Oh,
Made from walrus hide.
From what?
Walrus hide from the neck, female.
Okay.
Yes.
Cool.
She's a male because of the lumps on the neck, huh?
Oh, what is it called?
Laurentia.
That's in Russia?
Yeah.
How far is that away from here?
Think so.
Like a day.
About 24 miles from here, that direction.
Thanks, Badger.
So they came here last year, huh? And you got to see them. That's nice.
They're here at least, 4 days?
Huh. So they speak what language?
Siberian Yupik.
Yupik
Mm-hmm.
and Russian also.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. But you don't understand Russian, yeah?
No.
No.
Huh. How are you related to them? Just like cousins?
My grandfather was born over there.
Huh.
My mom's dad.
Man.
My dad's dad was born over there too, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Your dad's dad? Grandfather, man.
He's my uncle from my mom's side.
Oh, okay. So if I had binoculars, I could see them, huh?
Yeah, yeah. If they're up there today, you could see them. Yeah.
Yep.
You see a glitter
Oh, yeah.
from the sunlight, the reflection. Their windows open. They're starting to open.
Yeah,
You'll see it.
dragon.
Oh, okay. Huh. So does anyone use that water tank from 1890?
This money.
Okay, so you heard these Eskimos. They just said that you can't go across to Big Diomede because there's military over there. So the story that I've gathered is that there's Russian military on the other side of Big Diomede, or over on Big Diomede, and they're not allowing anybody to try and go to that island or pass to that to the land west of Russia. So basically, that's Big Diomede in the background behind these two guys, and you can go watch this video as well here on YouTube. And this is what it's called: Flying to See Russia from Little Diomede, Alaska, Day 1.
Hey,
So-
go get the one where the guy tried walking across.
I'm going to do that. That's next.
Okay.
I have that one lined up next. So
wanna read-
basically, some people were wondering about Big Diomede. Like Chris Money was saying that maybe it doesn't exist, but that is Big Diomede in the background right there. So these two islands do exist. I don't think that the international dateline, since it's made up, I don't think it runs through there like that.
No.
Because those two islands are next to each other. So you can't claim that that island's on the other side of the world. So those two islands are definitely next to each other, and they're not split by the dateline. Because on your map, that would put them on the other side of the world. And you can see that that's them in the background. And I watched probably 5 different videos of the Diomede Islands. And so they are next to each other. And so on the Mercator map, they have the dateline running through right there on that ice patch. And in the winter, you can walk across. But these guys say, these Eskimos, that they have military there that won't let you across. And I've also looked into it, and apparently it is illegal to try and enter Russia from this walking across from Alaska. So if you think that you can just walk from Alaska to Russia, when it's frozen willy-nilly, apparently it is illegal. You can get arrested and detained. And it has happened in the past, which we're going to check out in this next video.
Why is it illegal, Jake?
That makes
because we hate each other. We hate each other, right?
Yeah, we're fake.
We're enemies with Russia.
We're fake enemies with Russia.
Fake enemies. I've seen pictures of Putin and Trump. We're not enemies.
So basically, we're fake enemies with Russia, which would make sense if they have Russian military or military in general guarding that area. So if your map is right, if your idea is right, then it actually would make sense to have military guarding possible land west of Alaska.
And pretend like it's Russia.
Yes. So these guys right here, actually, this evidence here actually suggests that there is guards or someone guarding the area. And since these guys are the Eskimos, it's like, and this video is from 2012. So this predates the flat earth rush. So this was out before everyone was talking about flat earth. So this video is from 2012 that we're watching. So I find this interesting, and I'll go ahead and show the next video about walking from Russia to or walking from Alaska to Russia. This one is definitely interesting. Let me stop sharing this one and share my other video. All right, this one's going to be good. This one's going to be good. All right.
Comments are funny.
So this one's called "Could You Travel from the USA to Russia on Foot?" In a way.
Of course you can.
You can or can't?
You can't. I'm being sarcastic.
Okay.
I mean, if this is Russia, if you can go to fake Russia on foot.
Here we go. This is where my research led me. Is right here.
From Little Diomede. The Bering Strait is extremely remote and sparsely populated. This is partly due to the freezing low temperatures and unfavorable climate around the area. However, on the western shore of the Little Diomede Island lies the village of Diomede. This village is inhabited by an Inupiat Eskimo population of 170 people, who live in huts clustered up the steep and rocky hillside. It has a school and a local store, and is one of the most remote and isolated settlements in the U.S. But unlike Alaska's neighboring Little Diomede Island, Big Diomede has no permanent native population. After World War II, the native population that once settled there were forced off the island and onto the mainland of Russia in order to avoid contacts across the border. Today, it is the site of a Russian weather station and a few military installations with some Russian soldiers. As you can see, there is a water body between Alaska and Russia, which makes it seemingly impossible to cross from one country to the other on foot. However, in the middle of winter, the region is subject to severe storms and an ice bridge forms on the Bering Strait from coast to coast. So, technically, you could walk from the US to Russia on this seasonal ice. The narrowest distance between mainland Russia and mainland Alaska is approximately 55 miles. Considering that the walking speed of most people is 3 to 4 miles per hour, it will take at least 10 hours to walk across the two main lands without stopping for any breaks. However, this can vary based on many factors including your fitness level, overall health, and age. Additionally, many obstacles along the way such as bad weather could potentially make the trip much longer than expected. But despite the fact that a person could potentially cross from the USA to Russia, many hurdles restrict traffic across this body of water. First of all, the freezing of the Bering Strait can happen only several days during a year, with strong ice and a calm and clear weather. Because of this, one has to plan very well in order to catch the very right moment to embark on such a journey. The ice structure changes very quickly and completely unpredictably, so there's no guarantee anyway. Additionally, there's a strong current which flows north through the strait, which usually creates large channels of open water. On occasion, these open channels become clogged with moving chunks of pan ice. And even though it is theoretically possible to jump from chunk to chunk, you would still have to do some swimming across the open leads in the icy water. and even for an Olympic swimmer, cold water swimming can be extremely dangerous. Any temperature below 21 degrees Celsius is considered potentially dangerous for swimming as it could lead to hypothermia. So, swimming in the Bering Strait is not something to leap into without preparation. Luck is also required in having favorable currents. Attempting to walk in 60 to 70 miles per hour winds is dangerous, and there is a high risk of being blown over and suffering injury. The Big Domed and Little Domed Islands can be used as a resting point during the crossing of the Bering Strait. However, being in the proximity of Russia's Big Domed Island will reduce the chance of a successful crossing from Alaska to Russia. It is unlikely permission will be obtained from the Russian government to cross the Bering Strait, which means a successful crossing involves keeping a low profile. This comes as no surprise considering the hostility between the United States and Russia,
We hate
and the
each
fact
other.
that there are no official immigration offices to check you in or out of the countries. So if you would try to walk, kayak, or swim across the Bering Strait, as soon as you would be on the other side, you would be arrested and deported from the country you just arrived at. Russia is known to patrol its borders with dogs, and I don't think you would want to meet them after a 55-mile swim. But just because it's illegal to cross the water doesn't mean nobody has ever done it. There are actually 2 reported cases of humans walking from Alaska to Russia in modern history. The first is of Russian Arctic explorer and mathematician Dmitry Shapiro, who attempted to cross the Bering Strait on skis in the company of his 2 sons. The expedition failed when overnight, the coastal ice had carried the sleeping adventurers 16 miles away into the open Bering Sea. Shapiro, conceding defeat, set off the rescue beacon and awaited rescue. The group was feared lost until they were finally spotted and rescued by helicopters, which took them back home. In 1997, a second attempt failed when Nikita, the oldest of Shapiro's children, fell through the weak ice and sustained severe frostbite. In 1998, in the course of the third attempt, Dmitry and Matvey Shapiro managed to successfully cross the Bering Strait, becoming the first people to do so by skis, and thus securing another spot in the Guinness World Records. The second attempt is of British adventurer Carl Bushby, who is still attempting to walk an unbroken path around the world, from southernmost Chile, up the Pacific coast of the Americas, across the Bering Sea, and then across Eurasia all the way to England. In March 2006, he and his fellow adventurer Dmitry Kiefer walked from Alaska to Russia over the Bering Strait in 14 days. When they arrived, they were immediately detained and deported from Russia. You can read more about it in his book called Giant Steps. The idea of building a bridge or tunnel across the Bering Strait has been proposed a number of times since its first mention at the end of the 19th century.
Do it.
Advocates of the tunnel are seeking funding to study the feasibility of what they term the World Link,
It's not
which would
feasible.
unite 4 of the
Definitely not feasible. They're not going to be making that bridge.
All right. So when I watch videos like this, I don't just take everything that I hear as truth, but I do find it fascinating that the only 2 examples of someone trying to get across there that they're talking about, that they say exists, is this one guy who got the world record, the Guinness Book of World Records, or 2 guys right here. So these 2 guys went across and they got this Guinness Book of World Records. And then that next guy they show said he wanted to walk an unbroken path from South America all the way to London. So basically walk across the world with an unbroken path. And it was going to take him years, basically. But so he got stopped in supposed Russia, and it says that they arrested and deported him. So that information right there, if it's true, actually goes as evidence for Shay's map that they didn't want this dude in the land west of Russia, and so they arrested him and deported him. You get what I'm saying? So the second story that they tell didn't end well there. So they have 2 guys with the Guinness Book of World Records that they say did this on skis, but that they had to be rescued the time before that. So this guy who tried to do it on foot, they arrested him and deported him, apparently. And so they can't make too big of a hubbub over it because they wouldn't want people to know if there is land west of Alaska that isn't Russia. They're not going to want people to know. So, of course, they can't make too big of a hubbub about it. But if this hiker who wrote this book did indeed get arrested here, that is evidence that actually supports Shay's map, that is the edge of the world. Here, we'll go back, and they call him Carl Bushby.
Around the world, from southernmost Chile, up the Pacific coast of the Americas, across the Bering Sea, and then across Eurasia all the way to England. In March 2006, he and his fellow adventurer Dmitry Kiefer walked from Alaska to Russia over the Bering Strait in 14 days. When they arrived, they were immediately detained and deported from Russia. You can read more about it in his book called Giant Steps. The idea of building a bridge or tunnel across the Bering Strait.
And so you also have to look at the fact that they're our fake enemy. So we have tensions between us and Russia. However, Russia has no problem doing, fake space missions and stuff. They have no problem going along when we do fake space missions. They don't call us out for it being fake. Same with China. So whenever you look at these militaries who are supposedly our enemy, or that we have supposed tension, you have to look at what we have in common. And we have
all of our presidents are hanging out.
In common. What's that?
All of our presidents are getting ready to hang out and chill at the G22 summit. So
yeah, and so you have to look at the things that we have in common.
Yeah.
So we could have some. I'm sure people are going to have some questions in the chat. We could probably take some questions about this. So basically, you heard it. If you look into it, you're going to find that they do have military guarding that area. And also, if you take a flight from Alaska, you have to go in through like the Moscow side. Apparently, there's no like regular commercial flight that you can just take the small distance right there. So you can't just take that little 52-mile like little flight right there, and that's restricted airspace apparently. So the Eskimos who live on Little Diomede claim that they're allowed to go over there and visit their relatives in the village just across, but they have to get permission, and they're only allowed to stay for like a month and a half tops. So those Eskimos claim they're allowed to go to that land west of Alaska. However, like I said, they have to get permission, and they have a time limit on how long they can stay, and they have to be flown back and forth on helicopter or little small airplanes. And so that's where my research led me to the possibility that is where our world ends, between those two places, and that there could be more land, or the deception ends right there at the dateline. And
Can you pull up this map again?
Yeah. Go ahead.
So what I like about this map is it has a north and south end and two magnetic ends. I mean, notice on a magnet, you probably can't see it, but one it says north and one says south. Every single magnet has a north and south. So it aligns with the compass. You can explain the rotation of the stars and the oceans and the winds. And the hard thing to explain is the sun, but I do have a video for that on my YouTube. You can check it out. But yeah, this map answers all the questions that I had for the flat earthers that they could not answer. Instead, they blocked me, kicked me out of their groups. But yeah, I think this is the map. What do you guys think? Jake, what do you think? What do you think about Shay's map?
I thought that I was going to be able to poke some serious holes, because most people who present a rectangle map, you have to think that the sun and people are going to teleport from one side to the other, or Pac-Man from one side to the other. That's hard for people to gather. And so the questions that I have, you answer as that being like a barrier that people aren't really allowed to go. Or that it's inhospitable and that there's ice there. And when I looked into it, there's actually some merit, like what we just watched about the Little Diomede Islands.
You started proving me right.
Yeah, I was like, holy
You're trying to prove me wrong.
I was like, that might be right where our world ends. There might be land west of Alaska whole. Like, my mind was blown. And I also, watched some of FPV Angel's stuff, which has a similar thing going on, which he is supposed to be our next guest. I think
Did
I
you
even
see
have,
the super chat, Javid?
super chat from Javid says, regarding the stars, what do you think of Jaren's rebuttal on it, that it's perspective? A 6 is going to look like a 9, depending on where you stand. See, here's the thing with Jaren. He talks out of both sides of his ass, and he's a proven shill. He's still pushing the AE map, which has been debunked over and over and over and over again. The sun's path has been debunked on that map. The daylight hours have been debunked on that map. The navigation on that map with east and west being circles that become one another is also bunk. No flat earther. No flat earther has ever proven that the tropic, the inner tropic, is actually shorter than the outer tropic or the equator. No one's ever proven that on that model. So
and the stars, like if you look at the stars from the Giza pyramid and you're looking at both, and you could verify it for yourself. So it is verifiable if you could get there. But I mean, plenty of people have taken pictures and made videos, so you don't have to go there yourself.
So what I find interesting about flights, and we can even talk about that for a minute, is the flight routes will always take this big arc. Woo! A lot of times they don't take a straight path. So what they'll show you on the flight tracker is that the planes are going way up top of the freaking map and then coming down, and they say, oh yeah, it's because it looks funny on a Mercator map. It's because it's the curvature of the earth, it looks like that. So what they're actually doing theoretically is adding the amount of flight time, and they can go the opposite direction even and get way up top and then come way back down, woo, like that, rather than taking a straight quick path. And when you look into the stops, sometimes the stops and the flight durations just seem like way too long. Now, not every flight seems to like match up perfectly that I looked into, but then again, I don't know if there are also fake flights that are going on as well. So I figured that there also could be fake flights. So if the routes that they show are going woo way up top, and you can look into this, the routes that they show planes taking is that they go way up top of the map. And so if they're going as far as to fake the routes, they can also go as far as to fake the flights. And some of the flights we looked into at the dateline, when you try and cross the dateline, get funky and out of whack. And we're suggesting, or Shay suggested, and now I'm thinking this could be possible. And I've also heard the similar thing from other channel FPV that said they're going east or they're going west, but they ain't going over the dateline.
No.
However, we have to also consider the dateline is manipulated as well, because it's obviously not running through Little Diomede and Big Diomede right there, because those two are next to each other.
But you can look up a couple of islands that look like they would be close. Cook Island and Tonga Island. And they look like they're really close on the map, but they are a full day apart. Like, it's hard to get a flight. And then as far as west and east go, like where does it end? I do believe that north and south are holding us all together, because look what magnets do. But as far as east and west go, I looked for the furthest place you could fly west, furthest place you could fly east, and they name these tiny little islands, and they say you can't go beyond that island, and no one has ever gone beyond that island because you would run out of fuel. So I thought that was interesting.
You know, and then there is remember when there was, like, I forget what year it was, maybe it was like maybe 10 years ago even, they had that flight go missing or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So they had like just go missing.
A ton of land that,
or what if a plane just got a little too far off the route or something? You know what I mean?
And they could go lots
I don't know.
Planes
so there
and
was
ships.
that story, and then so I just was trying to find instances where, you know, like, how can you figure it out with planes? And the thing with planes is, here's the thing with planes. You can make them go faster or slower in the air. And while you're on the plane, you won't know exactly how fast you're really going. And so we don't know we don't know if you catch a jet stream like if it's really going top speed or if it's just half-assing it. And then the routes that they show that they claim to take are extremely exaggerated with this big, huge arc that goes up north a lot of times. And a lot of times they'll stop in places that seem out of the way. And there was even an emergency flight where we pull up the international dateline on Google Maps. Let's show how it has that mushroom shape on it too. And
I just want to talk about something really quick. I looked up plane flight wrecks, shipwrecks, and like Amelia Earhart crashing over here, a bunch of shipwrecks up here, shipwrecks down here at the edges of the earth, at the edges of this map is where you're going to find all of those. Okay. What did I do?
Go to Google Maps and pull up the international dateline, and let's show how it's not a straight line, and that they made this really weird shape that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense.
I closed out of it.
Actually, I'll pull it up on mine.
Okay.
Now that I think of it, I don't need you to do it.
You got this.
Yeah. Like asking you to do something I could totally do.
I was almost able to do
it. Actually, it should be easier on my end too. The hell. Okay. Back out.
Yes, corners of the earth. I'm going to look at some of these comments. Okay.
All right.
Never mind. You got it.
Yeah, I'm bringing it up right now.
Yeah, let's find the wall. On the east. Like, let's just keep going east. See what happens.
There we go. Okay, so that's what they say is the international dateline right there. And Javid with a super chat says it's not a round pizza, it's a Sicilian pizza or square pizza.
It's a square inside of a circle.
Well, we really don't know. You have to kind of look at this like our barnyard. Like this is our cage, rather. So rather than saying that this is the shape of the Earth, this is just where what we know of it ends, I would say. So check out the international dateline right here. As you can see, it runs like this weird jagged shape here. And here's where it gets extra funky. Look at that. Like, why in the hell did they make this mushroom shape right here? So you're telling me if I come sailing in a diagonal direction, I'm going to be like, into tomorrow, back into yesterday, into tomorrow again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's stupid to me. Like, why wouldn't you just keep it going straight right here? So it's almost like this weird puzzle piece mushroom shape.
Yeah.
I don't understand why.
Did we zoom in on that piece?
It goes away. It goes away when you zoom in on it. Watch this. If you zoom in, whoop, see, it just goes away.
What is this invisible line?
But see, this mushroom shape is weird to me because why would you have a sailor coming through here and be like, oh, yeah, I'm 24 hours into the next day, and now I'm back into yesterday, and now I'm back into the next day again. Like, that's just stupid to me. It doesn't make sense why you would make it like that. Like, why wouldn't you just connect it like, bloop, to get, like, why does it have to be this mushroom puzzle piece kind of deal, you know? So that I found funky. And so this is the dateline right here. And like I say, it's kind of this strange shape. And so it has it going right through the Diomede Islands. And the Diomede Islands are both together. But they claim that you're not allowed to go there. If you're an American, you're not allowed to just go from Wales over to this Uellen over here. You're not allowed to just do that. You'll get arrested, according to what information that I find.
Post Javid's mushrooms.
Javid with a $5 super chat and some mushroom emojis. Thanks, Javid. I appreciate that. You're a gentleman and a scholar. So I find it fascinating when you look at Wales right there. You would think that, you could just totally just take a little boat or take a little stroll. But then when you zoom in on Diomede, that's where those Eskimos were. And they say that over on Big Diomede that they have Russian soldiers and military that'll get you. And
So we have Eskimos on one side and blonde-haired, blue-eyed people on the other side. Yeah, that makes sense.
And they claim that they have family over here in Uellen, but you have to get permission to go over there, and you can only stay for like 90 days. That was what I found. So even if this is another patch of land that isn't Russia, perhaps they do let the Eskimos go visit their family and make the little tiny jaunt, because they know that they're just going to like drop them off. They're just going to hang out in a shack, and then they're just going to bring them back. See what I mean? So perhaps they do let them go across. But then I also have to take into consideration that those Eskimos are actors, helping to protect the perimeter. And so when you look at the perimeters and who's there, it's all our fake enemies basically over there on that side. And so the fact that they say Americans are not allowed, or anybody's not allowed to just walk in, and that one hiker guy got arrested when he got over here. So they say that the hiker guy who got arrested walked across here when it was frozen, got to this little village right here, and they were flipping out that he did that. And then shortly after he got there, they arrested him and deported him. And of course, they wouldn't want to make too big of a deal, because you wouldn't want to blow your cover that this is like another piece of land. So
people are wondering why, but they're trying to tell us we're having food shortages, we have land shortages, we have homeless people. Like, what if people knew the truth? How much land in Russia is unoccupied?
So basically,
they're hiding resources.
If there is land on the west of Alaska, the story is they have soldiers guarding it. And so what AEMAP flat earthers have said is that there's soldiers guarding the ice wall, which I found ridiculous, because an ice wall that would surround you 360 is going to be like, it's going to be like 60,000 miles circumference or something like that. It was like some ungodly distance if we had an ice wall circling us completely. And if they had soldiers around the entire perimeter, like, how is that going to work? Are they going to have guys like holding hands, like waiting for you around the perimeter? It would make sense more if they had certain areas where you would figure people would try and make an entry, like Wales shooting straight across to Diomede, and then Diomede over there to Uellen would make sense to most people because it's the closest. So it would make sense that they would have soldiers there guarding you, and that's our enemy, and that you're not allowed over there. So when you look at the fact that Russia and Alaska are basically like two countries that are supposedly at odds with each other, but they're this close, and they have soldiers there that won't allow you, and that area is super inhospitable. So you got to be a crazy person to try and even make that trek on foot anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, what if they don't come rescue you?
Exactly.
What if you got over there and then they detained you, but they didn't let you go? So I would be skeptical of it, but a part of me would be scared as shit to try and walk my ass from Little Diomede to Big Diomede and then have some Russian dogs and Russian soldiers detain me, never to be seen again. So you're not going to see me volunteering to be like, well, I'm going to go do it. I'm going to walk my ass over there. Like, first of all, I don't like cold weather. And second of all, like, if I got over there and got arrested and detained, that would freak me out.
Me too.
Jail's not a place I want to go, and especially not foreign Russian jail.
And I don't like to be
invading illegally. Invading illegally
really
could be really shitty.
Yeah.
And so that's where my research leads me, which has reinvigorated my flat Earth love.
Yay!
I have been doing flat Earth
Yay!
research for a few nights, trying to figure out what in the hell's going on here. And some of what I find supports your map completely, and then some of what I find kind of contradicts it. And so it's one of those situations where there's something up with this dateline. There's something up with us being at odds with Russia, yet we both fake space together. We go along with the same lies that they tell. They don't ever expose us for faking space. So we have to consider that Russia, China, these countries along the perimeters are helping us, our military, guard this section of the map, and that we are possibly barnyard animals in a rectangular portion of the world, which is crazy to me. Which is crazy. Javid Ben's Cosme says, but Jake, don't you like vodka? I don't drink hard alcohol. If I do drink, I drink beers. I don't like to drink hard alcohol because it makes me too drunk too fast. Then I get sleepy. And there were only times in my life that I ever got blackout drunk and started to do stuff that I don't remember at all and made a fool of myself was when I drank hard alcohol. So if I just stick to beers, I can catch an alcohol buzz and not go crazy. And
Someone asked.
Yeah,
oh,
I gave up hard alcohol a long time ago. Haven't drink. I just don't drink it.
So something we didn't cover with the map, and that is the 24-hour sun, 24-hour darkness. And that can be also explained on this map because the north is elevated and the south is elevated much higher than the rest of the earth. And the sun is rising and setting close to both of those places. So that is how sometimes the sun can't rise above it, and sometimes the sun doesn't go below it. And since it happens at opposite times of the year, then you know it's the opposite end of the earth.
So basically, like you're saying, like for them seeing 24-hour sun up here, like it could be coming up like this over the top of them, and then boop, go to the top, come back around at them like this again.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's how it would be more happening. Show show that one with that you had with the like the dome thing over the top and then the sun.
Okay.
Show that graphic again. And again, guys, this is a work in progress. It's hard to figure this stuff out. We could live in a supernatural realm.
Because you can't Google it. You can't look it up.
We might live in a supernatural realm that is even a computer simulation of sorts. So we can't always put an exact answer on everybody's question in total detail, but at least she can try and explain something that makes sense, hopefully. Yeah. So show that one.
How am I? Sorry.
Close that out, I think.
Okay.
The one that you had with it was like a white background. It had like a dome with the sun.
Yeah, I got it. Hold on. Yep, right there. Oops. Well, I want to, because this shows like the date and time, so you can see they're basically going in and out of portals or gates. And that is according to the Book of Enoch, which if you read it, it makes the most sense to me. And the people that have read it also agree that it makes a lot of sense to them.
What I like about your flat Earth research is that you don't just go by Bible and you don't just and you don't just go by Book of Enoch. And I never found a flat earther that like does Bible and flat Earth and Book of Enoch and does like your own scientific thought as well. So it's like
I just make sure it's all matching. Yeah.
And you included the books as well to explain things that you can't quite explain.
Mm-hmm.
And so I commend you for trying to explain this, because most people don't have the balls to dare say that the Earth is anything other than a globe. And they definitely don't have the balls to say, it's a flat rectangle and then try and demonstrate how it all works. So to put your face and your name out there and demonstrate this, you've done far more than many shillbags will ever do.
Thank you.
Ever do. Yes.
Thanks for letting me on your channel to present this.
Absolutely. Is there anything else that you wanted to show? And then we can talk to people in chat for a while as well.
I post a lot of these biblical earth videos on TikTok, and my TikTok is just at biblical earth. And I got nothing else I want. Let me just look at my folders. I do have one called Flat Earth. Let me pull this one up real quick. I just want to show this. So I do believe there's a firmament, and here is that square map, not a Pac-Man map. It fits inside of a circle underneath the dome, just like the other map does. So if you're biblical cosmology, then this matches the Bible a lot more than theirs does.
And you have to look at, rather than that being an ice ring, that it's the unknown, really. You know what I mean? So we know that there's some ice down south, and we know that there's possibly ice up north. Even we know Greenland's pretty icy, but basically, like, we don't know what's beyond those points, and so you can come up with your own theories, but you've never been to those areas, and none of us have been to those areas beyond on your model. So that would leave everything as basically a big question mark outside that blue ring, right?
Yeah, exactly. There could be other land.
And I
mean,
find
we proved that there is other land. We found we found some of the land. We can probably find more if we keep digging along that prime meridian line, international date line.
Yeah, there's definitely more research to be done there. I've only been looking at it for a short amount of time, and I'm interested to see what other flat Earth researchers come up with. Speaking of that, I was going to have next week, hopefully next week or next weekend, hopefully I can get FPV Angel on to present their map and model and see what sort of evidence they have. It's very similar to this one, so I'm looking forward to seeing what sort of evidence they have as far as flight routes go and stuff like that between the east and the west going over that international date line. So I have talked to FPV Angel through email, and I have invited him on, them I should say. It's a group of people. So I have invited them on, and they are supposed to come on sometime next week. We're trying to set up a time, but I will let you guys know. So I look forward to that.
Can I just answer this? No direct proof of a dome. And I know Jake says the exact same thing, but how do you guys answer for the sundogs and the rainbows? They're literally shaped like a dome. So how does that happen? It has to be reflecting off something, and we can't go with the mainstream.
Those are I think that's an interesting evidence, but I'm one of those guys, it's like I'm kind of a dick with it because I've been lied to so much. Like, I have to knock on it myself. Like, I have to be like Truman, Jim Carrey. I have to touch the edge of my world personally. Or even if I trust you enough that if you went there and you showed me where you were at, and if it looked believable enough, I might even believe you. But you would have to show me you there touching. You get what I'm saying? So I don't just accept like rainbow or sundog as ultimate evidence, but that's because I'm a skeptic all the way around.
Well, you can look at water cycle, and a water cycle, like, it basically has to have a lid. What are those things called? Look at a greenhouse, So we gotta be we have a top.
So
there's
me and Shay go back and forth. I don't completely subscribe to this model, but I don't completely subscribe to any model. and I find like things that make sense to me, and then I find things that don't quite make sense. But what we're trying to do is have a serious discussion that doesn't involve the AE map, because that definitely is the PSYOP map, and it definitely does not work, and it's been smashed to pieces. And so we have to look at other options. And so I want to thank you for showing your presentation here.
Thank you. Just thought I would show one more time where this map came from, because you did have a lot of AE map people in your audience. But just so you guys know, if you weren't here from the beginning, this is coming from the American Flat Earth Society.
And we ripped this map to shreds just last week. So if you watch our last stream, Flat Earth Back to the Basics, for 2.5 hours, me and Shay like just basically cut this map up. We did globe debunks, and we did AE map debunks, and then we showed flat Earth proof. So the world apparently, in my opinion, seems to be flat. The mechanics, the physics of water doesn't seem that it would be wrapped around a spinning ball, nor pushed up against the walls of a concave Earth. And so that leads me to wonder, how the hell can the Earth be flat and the sun go up and down? And so that's without it going in circles. And so that's what we're trying to get to the bottom of. And so I also look forward next week to my next guest that I want to have on. And they have a different idea of how things work. So FPV Angel says, I don't say anything is enclosed. And so that's what I want to do is have different guests on and have people explain what they think is happening and show their diagrams. And so we can all collectively have a serious discussion. And so I'm interested to see what FPV Angel has to add to this discussion, because he definitely does not, or they definitely does not, they don't subscribe to the AE map. This model on screen, they definitely don't subscribe to that map. So they are supposed to be my next guest. So I look forward to that. So the flat Earth discussion is alive and well, you guys. We are definitely going to be talking about flat Earth on this channel.
There may be different flat Earth matrices. Like you guys take in the information and look at it and try to debunk it, and then you can make up your own minds. But Jake is here presenting all the different ideas, and I really appreciate it, being able to come on here and share mine.
I mean, because of you, I know about little Diomede and big Diomede.
Because of you, I know about
because of you. Like, I did not know shit about the Diomede Islands, and because of you, I zoomed in on them. I looked at that village, and I had to know about that village. I'm like, I got to know who's there. Like, what's the deal with that village? And so being able to like see some supposed Eskimos who live there, what their there's videos that'll show you what their daily life is like. And so Shay and me have been discussing like what's up with these Eskimos, like everything at their store is like quadruple price.
Yeah, how do they afford it? What do they do for a job?
$15 a gallon or some shit, and everything at their little store is basically like a broom closet, and everything's like $40 for like a loaf of bread.
Yeah.
and they're like, these are the only jobs that exist: the local store, in the school, in the doctor's office. And we're like, well, how the hell does anyone else make enough money to pay for all the inflated shit there on the little tiny? And so the whole thing is
many of them. So are they all related, and are they inbreeding? Like, I have questions.
And so I never looked into these islands or these Eskimos, or the fact that you're not allowed to just go across right there. Like, I never really dove into it and did extensive research. And because of you, I now know that you can't just go walking across there willy-nilly. And as the story goes, they'll sick dogs on you, they'll arrest you, detain you. And on another video, I heard that they'll even take some warning shots at you.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they're just saying
a plane crashed there, so we don't know.
On Big Diomede, there's a plane crash site. So I don't know if they say this stuff just to scare you, or if they're like serious, like, don't try and cross there. Like, do not try and go across there. And then if you really want to go wild with your imagination, that's where the dead celebrities get to go. You just
Yeah.
go over there, right? Right, you get to go
The
across
dead celebrities are at Diamond Island,
dead
and that's why the
celebrity play- yeah.
soldiers are protecting
I
it. New
like
conspiracy.
I like the option of more land because that opens up the possibility of like celebrities that die that don't get reused, getting to like
Or-
retire. You
What
know,
if
like
JFK Jr. is over there and he really does come back? You know, these helicopter crashes are suspicious.
Kobe Bryant and his daughter die in the helicopter crash, but really, they went over to the other land over there. You see. So I always wonder about some of these celebrities. I know some celebrities get repackaged and they play other roles, but I wonder if there's like a place, another land where they can totally let loose, hang out.
Yeah, where's Jeffrey Epstein?
And not have to worry about anyone asking for an autograph. Like imagine if in this place, it's like, oh yeah, there's Elvis over there.
Robin Williams,
that's Kobe Bryant's house or whatever.
No celebrities die. They go to another island and live forever.
Yeah, they might like hang out and have like barbecues with each other, and they don't have to worry about like they don't have to worry about like people running up on them and trying to like take pictures or get their autograph. But that's of course if you let your imagination run wild. So here's the deal. What we do
have some super chats.
Oh shit, I missed them. Here we go. Rosebell, or sorry, Paul Hollow Quat. I always say Hollow Quat. It's Hollow Cat. Hollow Quat. Paul Hollow Cat says, Jake, Russian Empire has been around for at least 1,000 years. They owned Alaska, so why wasn't the Americans weren't discovered until Christopher Columbus? There must be more land. Hey, you know, anything in our history books that happens before I was born, I take with a grain of salt. I tell people that, like, history is so up for grabs because what we are told in school is bunk. And they always, like in America, they always make it out like these other guys who we went to war with are bad guys. So we always get this biased version here in America in school. You know, like those evil English were trying to make us our slaves. And we're such brave, awesome outlaws. We created our
We're the heroes.
God gave us this damn country and made us free. You know, they always have this like superiority complex in our version of history here in America. So you have to take any version of history, and then the movies as well. You know what I mean? It's like it's always a biased version of history. You know what I mean? You know, the Nazis are the bad guys, of course, and then the American soldiers are the good guys. So you have to take anything from before you were born, in Awake even. Before you were born in Awake, anything you ever heard of, you have to kind of take with a grain of salt, pretty much. As far as history, wars, all that stuff.
Nobody understands that Pearl Harbor is kind of like September 11th. You got to dig a little bit deep on that subject.
All right. Oh, and then I missed another one too.
Oh, are we allowed to say that?
Did
I say a trigger word?
Say 911.
911.
We'll be all right. It would be fine. They usually don't like me saying anything on this channel, but we're fine. Javid says, I had no idea about the Alaska-Russia thing. I would have more questions, but I'm driving. So I say you guys need to go do your own research, dive into this, and don't just go to one website like travelmath.com and say, oh, it only takes 2 hours by plane. It's like that's supposing it's a globe and supposing that you can take your own plane from one side to the other. So try and find an actual flight from one side to the other. You're going to start running into issues. And that's where our research was. And then look into those Diomede Islands and watch several different videos, and you'll hear the story that you're not allowed to just go from that little island, which is our territory, American territory. Shouldn't say ours, but American territory, to the Russian side. You can't go do that. They're claiming that there's soldiers over there who will not like you if you go across there. They will sick their dogs on you, detain you, arrest you, maybe even take some shots at you. And so, if that is even remotely true, that supports the notion that that is indeed the cutoff point and the quickest route into the next land. And so that would be, of course, the most heavily guarded spot. All right. Let's see. Lucas DeBroke says, this is important. It is important. This is like a new flat earth discovery for me that in my AE map days, I would have never thought of. And then I gave up the subject for a while, and I pretty much just said, you know what? I'm not ever going to be able to figure it out because I'm just one guy. I'm stuck. I'm like a animal who's caged in. I don't have my own ship. I don't have my own jet. I don't have my own crew or team. You know, I don't have a big budget. So everything that you would really need, I don't have, you know, and none of us do. Who does?
But
the
I got
military.
super obsessed with it. I'm like, I'm figuring this out. I couldn't stop. I looked at it every single day. People got sick of hearing about the map. I kept posting about the map. Got kicked out of all the groups.
Oh, if you posted anything like this in 2017 in a flat Earth group, they would immediately call you a shill and say that you're pushing disinfo, and they would boot you out. And not one of them will go look at the international dateline and poke around.
Yeah, no one would talk to me about it. I was even in group chats and I got kicked out.
AE mappers don't bring up anything about the dateline being a
They have an answer for everything.
Allegedly, Dave said that one of Admiral Byrd's missions flew beyond Antarctica with others and returned with less. He thinks they crashed into the dome. What do you guys think? Anybody named Admiral or Captain?
We don't trust.
Anyone tied back
Admiral
to the government and they're given a rank like Captain or Admiral and they're allowed to have their own military style ship or whatever? I take their I'm not going to say it's completely wrong. I take it with a grain of salt, definitely. So any story that I hear like that is kind of like, yeah, but that guy's tied back to the establishment, so that could all be bunk. So always be skeptical of any story that you hear.
Or anything that goes mainstream.
Yeah. But then also try and think that maybe there is some truth, so you know, to what they're saying. So am I going to throw the Eskimos out and say those Eskimos are lying? There's no way there's Russian soldiers. No, but am I also going to take them as total 100% there's Russian soldiers and they'll shoot at me if I go there? No, I don't know that either. But I am a little worried that if I did try, that something bad could happen to me. And so I was unaware that there's the possibility that a Russian soldier or a soldier in general would actually shoot at me if I was to try and go over to Big Diamond.
Okay, you need to scroll up and get Saul's.
Oh, I missed one from Saul. Yeah. I always miss one from Saul as I'm talking.
Yes, Timothy, planes do crash into the firmament and get sucked into it.
Okay, Saul says it's to Columbus until 1492 to sail 5,000 miles west, but no Siberians just looked 50 miles east. Well, anyone who did live over there could have been native to the land and then maybe did make that trek across, but it may have been, that border may have been sealed up now. Like they say that the Eskimos say they used to be able to go back and forth, but if that's all they were doing was just going to a little village and they weren't continuing to explore, they might also not know how big the world really is, and they might also think in their head that that's Russia over there, these Eskimos. So what happened back then in 1492 is anybody's guess. You know, anybody's guess what was really going on back then.
In North and South, I don't think there's anything beyond North and South, because you see the Aurora Borealis lights, and that also aligns with the biblical version of God's throne.
Javid
So
says,
East and West, it's a mystery.
Javid with a super chat says, I agree about the celebs like Tupac with fake deaths. They come to do a job like an actor with a script, then fake die and go to an unknown land. I was thinking it was beyond Antarctica, though. So the popular conspiracy theory, and I'm not sure if it's true, they say that Tupac faked his death and then came back as Akil the MC from Jurassic 5. But I also have heard that that's a psyop to get people to talk about it and look stupid. So we just have to assume that Tupac just, they had him fake his death. And what I think one of the main reasons they do that as well is because the longer you try and stay famous, the harder it is to stay relevant. And so your style of music will go out of style, and then your personal style will change. You'll get older. And so rather than fade out of irrelevance, you get immortalized when you die. So Jimi Hendrix, if he was still alive today trying to play guitar, he might not be as good anymore, and he might be like a broken down version of himself. Let's say if Prince was to be 60, 70 years old and start to decline and start to have bad performances, you might not view him in the same light as you do now that he's fake dead. He's immortalized. So you become immortalized when you fake die because people remember you as that version.
And you're worth a lot more.
And then your album sales and everything skyrocket and stuff like that. And you'll always be remembered as that perfect prime version of yourself when you died. And so
unless you're worth more still alive, like Dave Chappelle, and then you just get replaced.
Yeah, so Dave Chappelle is a different story. He wasn't going along with the program.
Yeah.
He was starting to talk about the program. And so I think they got rid of him. I personally think he's dead and gone. And what I think he sold his soul. I think he sold his soul when he did his first batch of movies. So he has worn the dress. He wore a dress in Robin Hood Men in Tights 2. And then he claims he didn't want to wear a dress no more. And then he started opening his yap. So I think that I personally think if you sell your soul and you're part of the Hollywood cabal and you're in the limelight making movies, and then you start opening your mouth, that part of the deal of you being famous is that if you don't go along with the plan, they can legally and basically just get rid of you without any consequence to their own God who they worship. I don't think they're allowed to kill people like me or Shay, for instance, for saying these things. But I do think if you're part of their Hollywood cabal and you have sold your soul to them and they make you famous and then you come out and start running your mouth, that they can basically disembowel you in a secret ritual and basically be like, well, that's what happens if you sell your soul and then you go against us. Now, can I prove any of that? No. But I personally think that certain guys like Dave Chappelle, he was a popular person to the point where he could control a large portion of the Black community with his words. And if you can control what Black people think, or people in general, not just Black people, white people as well. But if you can control a large portion of what people think and people will listen to you and follow you, that makes you a dangerous person. And that's why they don't let guys like me get a huge following because I'm a dangerous person. And so if you look at anybody who starts to gather a following, something bad happens to them. Like Martin Luther King, for instance, that might even be a fake death. But even if you were to say it was real, you have to figure once somebody starts getting popular and speaking out and drawing a crowd, that person becomes dangerous. And so it is in the vested interest of the ones in charge to have absolute control, their thumb over the top of anybody who's going to speak and draw a crowd. So that's what I
gave you another one.
Oh, Javid says, that one I just read. And then Saul, we read that one. My bad. Let me go to the new.
About Admiral did say there's something strange going on with the bottom of the ball. Okay, you got it.
Admiral did say there is something strange going on in the bottom of the ball. So despite what he found, he's a glober or he's part of the script to implement the treaty. Yeah, again, man, Admiral, Captain, Lieutenant, any of these, anyone who has
trust them.
control of a ship and a crew.
Anyone on TV? He
yeah.
was on TV.
Yeah.
You can't believe what you see on TV.
I am seriously doubtful of any of that sort of stuff. So you have to, you can't just be skeptical of the globe. You have to also be skeptical of anyone and everyone, basically. So if they have, you know, an amazing story to tell and they're the only ones who can apparently verify it, and then whenever you talk about it, you have to reference them. Well, Captain Cook said, Admiral Byrd said, that's hearsay, and we can't prove that it's true.
Yeah, speaking of Captain Cook, like everybody was dying as they were trying to find the West Passage, but then Captain Cook supposedly did it. Can't trust Captain Cook.
Andy says they're all military. Precisely. Military's all about mind control. All about mind control. All right. All right, guys. So anyone else has anything more to add here?
Yeah, Captain Cook's brother Hook.
Iron FE says false flags are fun and exciting. He's spelled wrong, but okay, I think let me show it. It says false flags are fun and exciting, and you always get what you want them. I don't necessarily agree, because we get a lot of hoax events that aren't false flags. A false flag is different. That's like faking people out, like having one of your own guys like blow up like a ship and then saying that it was someone else, like what. So false flags are we're getting, people will call an event a false flag, like a mass bang bang, a mass pow pow event. They'll say that that's a false flag, when really what we're seeing is just complete hoaxes where nobody dies. So in a false flag, you could actually have deaths and then put fake blame somewhere else. So you could actually have a real attack, but then say that someone else did it and trick people into believing that this attack was done by someone else, and actually have real deaths. So I associate false flag with like military style attacks with actual like deaths, and then hoax events like what we see at these mass bang bang pow pow events, like what we just saw in Buffalo. Those events, I don't think anyone actually dies, and so I call those hoax events.
Did you get the last Javid super chat?
I might have missed it again. Oop, that's not what I meant to do.
Up a little bit.
Don't think Tupac is a keel, but I do think he faked his death, false flag style. Great channel on this industry. Well, he was told to do it. You don't just decide. You don't just willy-nilly on your own get to do that. He was told to do that. He's definitely handled. If anything, maybe they get rewarded at some point. Like maybe they really want to. Like they're like, okay, if I do all this for you, can you please reward me? I think I missed one from Jonah X as well. I think I missed a super chat. Did I miss one?
I didn't see another one. Javid sent.
I did. No, I did. I missed one from Jonna. Okay. Sorry, Jonna. I don't want to miss anyone. Sometimes I get carried away talking and one will slip on by. I hate missing super chats. So Rose Bellman says, thank you for this afternoon stream. I learned a lot of interesting things. Thank you, Jake and Shay. So thank you, Jonna, for the donation. And thanks, Rose. So Rose and Jonna both discovered my channel, I think about 5-6 months ago or so. And they have been tuning into almost every stream, and they're very generous. They donate almost every stream. And so they're very nice. And they even wanted me to come do a private party where I perform some music and stand-up comedy. And so, yeah. And so it's cool when you're on YouTube and you're able to reach new people who actually appreciate the content. So thank you, Jonna, and thank you, Rose, for being here. Glad you guys made it. Glad everybody made it. Hope you guys have enjoyed this stream and at least learned something new. Even if you don't completely think that map or model is right, you don't agree, I suggest you do your own research. Don't just stop at the circle map and believe that your excuses solve everything, because they don't. And don't just stop at this map or model. Try and figure out the deal with the perimeter around us. And,
ask questions.
And how far you really can go. Like, how far can you freely travel without being tied back to like what airport you came in? Because if you do get in a plane and go somewhere else, then you end up at their airport. Then you there's this record of you going there, and so you're going to have to get permission and get a passport and go through all this rigmarole. So what can you do without getting permission, for instance? Like if you just wanted to go exploring, like how far can you personally go before you run into trouble, and who's going to be there waiting for you? And in this scenario, if you go west of Alaska, hit Big Diomede or the land that could be thereafter, you hit Russian soldiers. And that's what we learned today.
And they hate us.
And they don't want us coming in from that direction. You have to go in through the Moscow direction, and you have to have special permission. Okay.
Yep.
All right.
All right. Thanks, guys.
We've been going about 2 hours here. We're going to go ahead and wrap this thing up. And my next guest is going to be FPV Angel. I'll let you guys know the exact date, but that's later this week or next weekend or possibly the week after. But whenever we get our date confirmed with FPV Angel, I'm going to have them on, and I'm going to let them have the floor. And hopefully we can figure out some more research and information together and get to some real damn flat earth research. No more of this AE map shill bullshit. This is where we're going to do some real flat earth research. This is a real flat earth think tank. All right. And we aren't controlled by the evil ones or the shills or their evil thoughts and their evil ways.
They hate us.
So I suspect that they will try to send their trolls and poo-poo on whatever is shown from you or FPV Angel or anyone that says that the Earth is anything other than a circle. So I do expect there to be a level of backlash, but we're going to try to ignore that and not get into a war with these people and keep it more focused. Keep it more focused on the information and present the information at hand. And so I'll go ahead and sign off here. This is Jake the Asshole and Shay, and that was Shay's flat earth presentation. You did good. This is
thank you.
So if you guys want to subscribe to Shay's channel,
Thanks,
I can go ahead and post a link right here in chat. She's up over 1,000 subs. She's going to be doing her own streams and her own content over there as well.
Yes, thank you for all your help. I would not know how to do this if it wasn't for you.
Oh, well, you're the one who suggested that we use StreamYard.
I was like so desperate to share this information. I'm like, come on.
The whole upgrade is basically your idea because you suggested StreamYard. We tried it. It worked. And now my streams are like so much better than they used to be that I can present all this shit. So, we got one more super chat coming in before we end. Jonna X says, I almost forgot Rusty Meat Fun. Oh, let's make an appearance real quick. Come on, Rusty. Wake up. He's totally asleep. I just totally woke him up. Here he is. There he is. There's Hoosties.
He's so cute.
Rusty,
His nose.
you got $20 for your meat fund, Rusty. Ooh, we're gonna have to get him a steak. Rusty's gonna eat a steak because he got $20 in his meat fund. What kind of steak do you want, Rusty? You want a T-bone so you can chew on the bone afterwards? All right, Rusty, thanks you for the super chat. Thank you, Jonna. Rusty will definitely get a treat for that one. I actually cooked him up a bunch of ground beef, so he just ate a big bowl of ground beef. But I can give him a little more.
Jake is a little crazy.
Want some ground beef, Rusty? Here. All right, ground beef coming up. There you go. All right. So there's a Rusty appearance for everyone before we head out. And we had over 200 people watching today. We had, I think, at one point, like 250 people, several different super chats. Let me wipe my hand. So, yeah, we had probably 250 people at one point. Several super chats coming in. Lots of people being generous today, and I appreciate that, you guys. It really does help so that we can continuously upgrade our stream. I'll be buying headphones and microphone shit and all that. And we're going to continuously try and improve our quality here. And I'm going to have Shay on as a guest semi-regularly. I'm also going to do my own streams, and I'm also going to have other people on as guests as well. And so I look forward to having other guests. And we can have up to 10 guests on this platform here with this plan that I bought. So we can have multiple guests, and so I look forward to having several different people on at once, even, and having think tanks in the future where we can all discuss ideas. So we will save some research for next time, and we'll maybe dive into the dateline and do a special just only on the dateline maybe next time after I have FPV Angel on. All right. So until next time, guys, this is Jake the Asshole and Shay signing out. You guys take care, and we'll see you later. Bye.